What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the Zoomer Perspective with a special guest for our
Very
special
special.
episode.
We are Jacob and Lexi, and she is our first guest. So, episode 10.
Yes.
Sweet.
Yeah, I guess it is
So
episode
today,
10.
It is episode 10. It's been a second, so we're a bit out of practice here. But today's topic is modesty.
Yeah, very important topic, I think. Very, I don't know. People talk about it, but it's kind of for the wrong reasons. I don't like the discussion around modesty.
So, how do
today.
people normally talk about it in your experience?
That, like, you should just be able to dress however you want. No implications.
Yeah.
You know, no one should see how you're dressing and think anything of it. But if you ask anybody if they think how they think about someone dressing a certain way, like, everyone has an opinion, but for some reason we're just not allowed to share it. You know, do you guys kind of feel the same way?
Yeah, well, I just think it's hard for people to share opinions anymore in general.
Mm-hmm. I think people just don't think about what they're wearing and how that can send a message to other people.
Think about what the message is, like what they're saying, but they're like, oh no, you're supposed to ignore it.
Mm. Yeah.
It's like, bro,
it's the other person's problem, not
exactly.
their own.
It's like you acknowledge that the sky is blue and it's my fault that I'm acknowledging it, not the sky's fault.
What I don't get is, why do we draw the line at, like, swimwear? Like, why is it not acceptable to walk around in your undergarments, but then when you go to the pool, you 100% are wearing sometimes less, especially women?
Yeah, that's not crazy. Let me catch my daughters in a bikini. That's all I gotta
say. So why do we draw the line there? What?
Yeah, I mean, you're kind of pointing it out how arbitrary it is, but
it doesn't make any sense. Yeah,
I don't think that's crazy.
So that being said, do you think that if you were to portray modesty, what would you wear to the pool?
Well, I'm a dude, so trunks is good.
But do you wear a shirt or do you not wear a shirt?
No, I don't wear a shirt because I'm a dude.
Yeah.
I don't have breasts.
Okay, so is it acceptable for you to just walk around, like, in society without a shirt on?
It depends. I think what you're trying to get at is, like, how it is different between men and women. And I think,
well, yes and
I think
no.
part of the reason this conversation is like, oh, why isn't it the same for men and women, is because people forget, men and women are different. So obviously within society, there's going to be different rules and standards for each of us.
Well, I just mean you don't see dudes walking around without shirts on the side of the well, you do, but I mean, normally they're frowned upon. So is it true that, you know,
if you're going to the mall and you're just shirtless,
it's weird.
That's kind of what you're saying, right? Yeah.
So is it more of, like, you dress for the environment you're in, and obviously when you're at the pool or a lake or something, you're in a different environment, and so the people around you, that's what everyone's wearing, that's acceptable, it's a normal thing. To where when you go to, like, a nice restaurant, you will be wearing nice clothes because that's what everyone around you is wearing, is, like, what's acceptable. Like, if you walk into, like, a really fancy restaurant and you're wearing flip-flops, basketball shorts, and, like, a ripped up shirt, everyone's going to look at you just like if you were walking to the mall without a shirt on.
Yes. But I think we're kind of getting to a point in society where, like, everyone is kind of thinking it, like, why are you shirtless in the mall, or why are you wearing flip-flops in this really nice prestigious restaurant? But it's almost like taboo to point that out and kind of uphold any sort of standard. And that's also why I was done to have kind of talk about this, because I think that's kind of the craziest thing to me, is the fact that we're supposed to just not have standards on how people dress within our culture, like within our society. But I mean, that's kind of part of society and culture.
Mm-hmm. Do you have any points to add to that, Lexi?
Yeah, I think, especially with, like, models, and, like, magazines and all of this stuff. I mean, I guess there's not tons of magazine purchases anymore, but
Instagram.
yes, Instagram posts, like all of that stuff, and they're wearing little to nothing.
And we have plus size models now.
Dude,
Well,
I mean, that's the only kind
okay.
of woman I'm trying to see, naked is a plus size model, obviously.
All right. Okay. But yeah, I mean, when they are just broadcasting themselves, and there's not really a standard like, oh, you need to cover like, not even just all of the chest area, just this tiny little part, and then it's fine. It's like that.
Yeah. It's like you can't show the nipple, but every other part is perfectly fine.
Yeah.
Well, not even that. I mean, that's the extreme, but then there's people that just clearly forgot the bottom half of their t-shirt.
Yes, the crop tops, and
Or it's like completely see-through.
Yeah, what's with that?
Right.
Bro, I don't
Maybe we should start wearing that.
Start wearing crop tops.
Yeah.
Dude,
I don't recommend.
I'm not a homo. Yeah. If I were gay, I would rock a crop top.
I could see it.
Hey, thanks, bro.
Glitter on it? Sparkles?
Dude, yeah.
I see it. With the like jean short shorts.
Now, as soon as I said that.
You gotta have those skinny jean short shorts.
Yeah, with like daddy on the back or something like that.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, so question for both of you. Why do you wear the things that you wear? Is there a thought behind it? Is there reasoning behind it? And then why would you say certain people wear certain things, if that makes sense?
I mean, I generally wear what is comfortable, but also to match what I'm doing. Like when I go to work, if it's cold out, I'll wear something that's longer sleeves, but is still comfortable, but is work clothes. If we're just going out and about, I obviously won't wear work clothes.
Right.
And then when I'm not wearing work clothes, I try to match so I don't just look like an absolute psycho.
Yeah, so you don't look like a middle schooler or something like that.
Yeah.
I like to wear definitely I'm more on the modest side. Like I like to wear one pieces. I even like to wear like shorts one pieces. And
what is a one piece?
Like for swimming.
One piece? No, okay.
Swimming. But I'm definitely more extreme. But I think that also comes with like me being more visual, and understanding how I can be perceived from a guy's point of view, so that I'm not one of their images in their head that's stuck in their head. Now, I mean, I'm not saying that they shouldn't capture all of these images of women and they should just replay them in their head. Like, I'm not saying that that's okay at all. Like, they need to work on that, of course.
Yeah.
But I think there's a part that we play as women to not necessarily help them with that, but just not be a part of that issue ourselves. So
yeah, that's true. Yeah, and I think every guy out here listening is probably like, dang, that's so based. Jacob won, finding a woman who thinks that way, because right now, especially with it being Halloween, all the time when I go on Instagram, I'll see all the memes and they're like, it'll be like a guy grinding in the gym and it says like, me when I find out my girlfriend's going to a Halloween party. And then I've seen some others and it's like, time to see the girls who actually have self-respect and the other girls who just act like it, like 364 days out of the year. I was like, dang, that's so real. Halloween got people acting up.
Yeah,
for sure. Yeah, they feel like just because they're dressing up means they can wear whatever they want.
Yeah,
or
like
acceptable.
My favorite line, this I'm kind of answering my own question, but My favorite line is when girls are like, "Oh, I just wear it for myself. Like, I just dress like a thought, for myself. I just do it because it's so empowering." And it's like, bro, I mean, come on, that's crazy. I know wearing like Lululemon leggings that go up all like every single crevice in your body is not comfortable. I mean, I'm good.
I wouldn't
like,
think so.
No, and
No.
I think a lot of people wear things because they're pressured by society to wear things.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't
To
think that's
fit in.
crazy. It's kind of like,
Yeah, to fit in or try to be popular, and that is what is so not important at all.
no. Mm-mm.
I mean, and if you want to be more noticed, then you should dress more modestly. I would think.
Like you don't
Yeah,
want people to
that's true.
notice you because of what you're wearing. Like,
Well,
you don't want people
I mean,
to know you because you're the girl that wears nothing.
Well, but I think that since majority of girls are wearing like the crop tops and the leggings that aren't covering their butt and all of the things, the ones who are dressing modestly do stand out more because of
I would
that.
actually agree with. I would agree with that, Lexi, because let's be honest, like girls are going to be noticed, period, because guys notice girls.
Yeah,
but
I honestly think they look better when they are wearing something modest.
Yeah, and this is another thing that I wanted to talk about. It kind of when I see a girl who is dressed modestly and a girl that's dressed very scandalously, like I notice both of them. Right, I'm like, dude, I'm gonna notice both of them. But the girl who's dressing modest, I notice that I think differently of her than I'm gonna think of the girl who is dressed really scandalously, and I think that's a big thing that we're kind of like shunned to do. Do you guys like feel that way? Like we're not supposed to acknowledge the fact that people are going to think differently of you if you're, excuse me, they're going to think differently of you depending on how you're dressed.
I mean, no, I think that's a normal thing. You don't have to like dress super fancy necessarily, but you don't just want to go out in your pajamas, like go to Walmart in your pajamas. Like have some self-respect for yourself and put on some clothes. Like look like a decent human being in society. Like care a little bit about yourself. Like,
yeah,
if you just get up and just walk outside and go to the stores, no, you get up, you brush your teeth, you change into the day's clothes and even brush your hair, do whatever you need to do, and then you can go out and about in society. It's like a way to just pick yourself up and just be a decent, nice looking person.
Now, I will say with a newborn, that's sometimes difficult to do all of those things. Like I went out of the house and I hadn't fixed my hair. I brought my hairbrush so that when I got to the place, I did fix my hair.
Nice. But, there you go.
I did brush my teeth, so that was good.
Well, there you go. I mean, at the end of the day, that's all you really need.
Yeah.
So sometimes it can be difficult, but yeah, you can still put yourself somewhat together before.
Yeah, and what you wear definitely does say something about you. I mean, if you're 100%. Just wearing super short shorts and these crop tops and you're just showing off your body, then that tells me that that's what you want people to see. You want them to see you for your body and not for who you actually are.
Yeah.
Well, and it kind of, as a guy, I'm just not going to be able to take you very serious. Like, you could be the most beautiful woman, and just because of the way that you're dressed, I'm not going to respect you the same as a woman who does.
Something that I want. I don't want to interact with somebody that has that character.
Or just like, maybe they don't even really have much of a character too. I mean,
yeah, to where when somebody is dressed more modestly, it shows that they have actual respect for themselves and aren't just going to go mess around with every single guy they run into.
That's true.
But I do think that a lot of girls don't think that way. Like they don't even realize what they're doing or how they are portraying themselves to men. I can see it a little bit because I am more visual, but a lot of girls are not visual. That's not how our brains are wired.
What do you mean by visual? Explain to people what you mean by visual.
Here, hold up before we pivot. So what you're saying, Lexi, is like it's something girls like don't even think about.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, I was one of them. I cheered in high school. I had like the short skirts and all of that stuff, and it didn't bother me. I thought it was, no big deal. But now, I think what brought it to my attention really well was our book that we read for marriage counseling or premarital counseling for women only. I know Jacob's mentioned for men only.
Right.
And those two books are really, really good. And it's actually, I think it's the 7th chapter. It's called Keeper of the Photo Files. And it's just talking about how men will store images of, women in their heads. And it just, they don't even try to. Some Christian men, they'll see an image and it's just stuck in their head. Could be for years and just reappear whenever it wants to, and they just have to fight that as Christians. And but just to recognize that, oh, well, I don't want to be one of those images for them. I'm married. I don't want my image to be popping into another guy's head.
Well, and the other part of that is guys also need to learn to, guard themselves too.
As Christians,
there's two sides of it.
Of course, but just knowing as a woman that is a possibility that happens in a man's mind. Not all men. Jacob's much less visual than a lot, and that works for us well, since we're kind of opposite. But most men are that way, and that book, that specific chapter, really helps. I think it would help a lot of women understand much better of that concept.
Because I think you're making a good point. It's just like when it's something you're not thinking about, and it's not something that you're like wired to do. Like say, I can't think of a good analogy for it, but if you're just not doing something, you're not going to be thinking about other people doing it. A lot of people, both men and women, I mean, you just fall into this is what I do, and I kind of perceive that other people do it because it's just not something that's talked about. And I think you hit on a good point too, Jacob, with the fact that men need to be guarding themselves, right? This is why I don't follow like Instagram models. There's girls that I know from school who post some very scandalous things. Hey, I'm not going to be following them anymore. But it's also like a 2-player game. And I feel like a lot of the burden's been placed on men. Oh, you shouldn't be looking. But it's like,
yes,
well, if all the women are dressed this way, if, anytime I go to the gym, I'm going to see girls dressed a certain way. It's like, how much can I really do? Should I stop going to the gym?
So can you elaborate a little bit more, just in case there's anyone out there that doesn't understand what you mean by being visual? Like, I think we get the gist, but I would like for you to elaborate in more depth.
Yeah. So basically, I think that it can be as simple as a woman who's wearing like a really low cut shirt, and you might see like their clavicle, and like your eyes might wander and imagine what's under there, and if you're wearing something that's super revealing low, like I'm not saying like yes, I'm wearing a V-neck right now. I don't think that someone's going to take that in a crazy way unless they let their mind wander way too much, obviously. But if they're seeing bits and pieces of a puzzle, then it can be pieced together in their head, imagining, okay, what's the rest of that? Especially that's on true. Like those models and where they're wearing the super skimpy outfits and all of that stuff.
True. Yeah, I don't think that's crazy. Yeah. Again, that kind of goes to what I was saying about it being like a 2-player game. How, as men, I mean, let's be real. We can say, and I think society says this a ton, like, oh, you just shouldn't look. But it's like, bro, all guys look.
If you're not supposed
like,
to look, then why are people wearing it?
Yeah,
exactly.
Well, and honestly, that thought can go both ways, I think, because like if I see a guy who's wearing a swimsuit but like really low down, it's like I can track, the lines and be like, oh, I don't need to think about, what's behind there, and so I think that's where I become a little bit visual. But
yeah, I mean, it's the same thing for guys, like what you were saying as well.
Yeah,
but it's just like, again, two-player game. Yeah. If it's weird for someone to be my thinking is with this, and that always kind of stands out to me as like a double standards. It's like, if I look at you in something that you're wearing, or if anybody looks at you in what you're wearing, and it's like weird, like we're not supposed to be looking, then like why are you wearing it?
Yeah.
I mean, we know why. That's not
attention. Ultimately, it's for
exactly.
attention. It's because you want people to look. You want people to make the comments. And I don't get why. I don't.
Well, that's a kind of bigger societal issue.
Yeah.
But I mean, I think you're right. And I saw a meme, and maybe I could send it to you if I can find it. But it's like the difference between flirting and sexual harassment, and it shows like this really like good looking guy, like Giga Chad, and he's like, hey, looking good today, Susan. And she's like blushing and like, oh, thank you. And then another guy says it, and he's like big and fat, and he's like, looking good today, Susan. And she's like, like somebody help me. And I was like, oh yeah, that's exactly what it is. If you're a good looking guy and you're looking at a woman and she's dressed scandalously, it's like, oh, he's like looking at me, I'm getting his attention. And then if you're like an ugly looking dude, then it's like, oh, why are you staring at me? Stop being creepy. But then it's like, well, wait a minute, you're wearing this to be seen. You can't really get upset with people for looking.
Yeah.
Well, and I do think that there's like a balance. Like I'm not trying to tell people to wear like Amish outfits or
a
something.
burqa.
I don't know what that is.
That's what that is, right? A burqa.
Oh, okay.
That Muslims wear.
Oh, yeah. Okay, I gotcha. That's or like the long Catholic skirts, right? Or like the jean skirts, or you know,
think
like
it's hot, Jacob? Shoot,
physically.
Oh, physically, like
hot. Like it's hot. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Like my face would be on fire.
Dude, that ankle, I know.
Yeah.
See that ankle?
Gotta see that ankle.
Imagination goes crazy.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. So that's when you gotta control your mind. That's too much.
Yeah, if I see that ankle cleavage, I'm going crazy.
Yeah, that shoulder boob, you know?
Oh, dude, stop. I can't. You're going to distract me saying stuff like that.
Yeah. But anyways, I don't think that every part of you needs to be covered at all times. Like that's excessive. No. Of course. I think there's balance. Like if you wore a strapless shirt, like maybe don't wear super short shorts with it or something, you know?
I think there's people kind of fall into the trap of like, oh, we should be like the Puritans or something like that, where women are dressing super, super modestly. But it's like, as a guy, I can appreciate a good looking woman, and I want women to dress and look nice. Right. I think every guy is in favor of that, but it's like when you start dressing like, you're working on the strip or something like that, it's like, okay, let's chill out a little bit. That's a little bit too much.
And I think for Christians out there, if they're like, well, I don't know how I should dress, like what should I do? For me, it's always, is it something you would wear to church? Like if you had didn't have time to change or anything and you just showed up at church, would it be acceptable? Obviously, swimwear is a different topic. just because that's obviously when you go inside with swimwear, it's not acceptable unless it's a pool, because it goes back to wearing what everyone like, kind of the what the attire of what you're doing. And so normally when you wear swimwear elsewhere, you have something to cover up with. Like guys will put a shirt on. And then I would totally walk into church with a shirt on and then my swim trunks.
Right.
And then a lot of times girls have a cover up or a jacket or something, whatever it is.
Yeah, or just like shirts and like shorts or something
exactly,
like that. Yeah.
And that would be acceptable.
Yeah, I think swimwear, people kind of like back themselves into a corner, but we could all agree, and everybody listening, there's such thing as appropriate swimwear and like inappropriate swimwear. And I think a good rule of thumb too, besides just like, would I go to church in this, is like, would I let my daughter wear this or my wife wear this? And that only applies if you're not like a cuck. Because if you're a cuck, then, you know, that hypothetical doesn't really work.
No, absolutely. Yeah.
But I did think of something that was good too, because I can't remember what it's one of the Middle Eastern countries, but I was talking with my dad who had been over there, and he was talking about how it might have been Kuwait. Don't quote me, but
I mean, your dad's been there a lot.
Yes,
so.
he has been there, and he was telling me how. Yeah, well, what can I say? He was telling me how there, even though like, you know, they're all Muslims and they have the rule where, you know, women have to dress, once a woman gets married, it's up to her husband what she's allowed to wear. And so he said, like, sometimes you'll go to the beach and there'll be some women and they're in burqas, and then there's other women and they're just out there in a bikini and it looks like, you know, they're from the States. And so you guys are married, so what would you say, like, how would you navigate this with each other?
Well, it depends on what she's comfortable wearing, and then obviously if she's wearing like little to nothing, it would make me uncomfortable because I don't like when other people wear that. Why would I like when she wears it?
Yeah, that's valid.
I think since I lean towards more modest in most of my outfits, we don't really have those discussions.
No. I mean, she's a bit more modest than what I would like. I'm
extra.
Yes, she's extra versus. Like, I'd be okay even if she was less modest. I'd be okay with what she was wearing.
Yeah. Like, I go overboard plenty of times. Like, I'll ask him, like, "Is this outfit okay?" And he's like, "Yeah, you're fine." But because I'll overthink it. But I don't know how we would handle it if not. I mean, I think we would just discuss it if it was an issue, and, you know, just explain, like, how does that make you feel to have other people see me in a certain outfit.
Already, like, just in my girlfriend and I's relationship, like, that's how it goes down as well. So but I mean, I was curious to hear what you guys had to say, because I mean, it's not a problem in my relationship, but I think
it is a problem for a lot of people, because the girl wants to wear something that is like super scandal, and it makes the guy uncomfortable, because it's like, I don't want other people to see you in that, let alone I don't, especially if it's a Christian relationship. It's like, I don't want to see you in basically your underwear. You know, that's a temptation. That's putting a temptation in front of you. It's like, I don't want to see you out in public like that. Like, that's not acceptable. He's like, well, you get over it, live with it, or whatever.
You're like being controlling or something like that. That's the thing I always hear is like, oh, you're being controlling, but it's like, come on now, that's crazy.
It's more like
Let's have some self-respect for each other.
I would think.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I would agree with that, Alexia. That's exactly what it is. I think guys kind of instinctively know that, because again, to go back to like, this is the way that we're thinking. This is like almost every single guy even Jacob, who's more on the lesser side of being visual. I mean, Jacob, you would say like you're still visual, right?
I can be.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, to the extent that every guy is.
It's just not as big of a struggle.
Yeah, like I'll notice people, but I don't go past what they're showing.
Right.
Like I don't imagine more. Like I don't imagine something that's not actually there.
Mm-hmm.
And even not for how my brain works.
Yeah, and even for you, like okay, there's guys out there that think this way, and so like with you being my girl, like I want to protect you from guys like this. But I think, and this goes back to what you were saying earlier, Lexi, like a lot of girls, they don't think about this. And then we're told also in society, like, oh, if a man tells you to do anything, he's being oppressive and, horrible to you, and you're going to go back to the Stone Age or something crazy like that.
Yeah, it's just woke.
Yeah. I mean, I would take it as if you ever came to me and said, like, hey, I don't like that outfit. I think that people are looking at you and it's portraying an inappropriate light. I would take
sending
that
a message that you don't want to send. That's the other thing. It's like, you're wearing that outfit, do you realize what kind of message you're sending?
Yeah.
Like, do you realize how other people see you, and do you really want to be portrayed that way?
Right. And I would be like, oh, I did not think of that, and just take that as a loving and sincere protective.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, kids play everything nowadays. There's kids out there that play GTA, and this 13-year-old walking down the street and goes, oh, hey, she looks kind of like the stripper in GTA. Do you want to be perceived that way? No.
Yeah, ratioed.
No.
Yeah. I think that goes past just like general modesty and looking at someone and thinking they're, like a thought.
Yeah.
And
you can't get mad at somebody for thinking that. Like,
what'd you say?
And you can't get mad at somebody for looking at you and going, oh, they look like that. It's like, no, you did choose not to dress that way. Like, if you don't want to be,
I think especially in instances of, oh, you look like someone who runs around. Yeah, that's really your own doing.
Absolutely.
And I just think too, like, when you see a girl who is all like pierced up and she's wearing like the fishnet stuff, you're like, wow, this girl's probably like got daddy issues or something like that. That's always what I think every time. And then you talk to them and you're like, oh wow, you do.
For me, I think it shows the lack of respect for themselves, and that's just so unattractive.
I think too, this is kind of off the topic of modesty, but I'm curious if you guys have noticed this. Obviously, like, well, Lexi, you went to public school, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. When did you graduate again?
2019.
2019.
Dang, that's when I started high school. That's crazy.
Really?
Yes.
That's when you started high school?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I didn't realize you were that much younger.
So I'm curious if even you've noticed this, Jacob, but I've noticed this with a lot of liberal girls. They like start, and liberal guys kind of do this a little bit, but it's definitely the girls do it more. But they like progressively make themselves uglier by like the way they dress and like the way they do their hair and stuff like that.
Well,
have you noticed that, Lexi?
Yeah.
So my high school, I was in a really small town, so I don't know that I was really around a bunch of.
So there was like
liberals.
one liberal,
not really.
in the closet.
They were shunned. Yeah.
Yeah, it really wasn't prevalent, but like I could think of college maybe.
Oh yeah, okay.
And yeah,
it's like they take this beautiful body that God has created and given to them, and then they start to pierce holes, like several lip things, and one that just looks uncomfortable. It's not appealing.
My absolute favorite is the bull ring here.
Oh yeah.
And then the eyebrows, and then you start slapping tattoos all over it, which might look pretty right then and there, but give it 20 years and look ugly.
Yeah.
And then you put some bright blue color in your hair, and then, like you said,
or even just like get a horrible haircut. I've seen some girls.
I'm just like,
There was
why?
one
Like,
girl
you could
and-
be so pretty, but you look trashy.
Yeah, there was this one girl in my high school, and we called her Hot Rod, and because she had shaved her head, and she got
Was she
like
still a she?
fire. I don't know. I never talked to her, but it was just like what people called her was Hot Rod because she shaved her head and then she dyed her hair like flames. Like there were
Oh.
flames like printed into her hair.
I mean, and if that's how you want to look, good for you. Like, ultimately, like, that's,
I don't know, bro. That's
Well,
a stretch.
Well, if you want to shave your head and dye it whatever color, like obviously that doesn't go against modesty. Like
No.
that's fine if you want to look that way, but you are being perceived
I don't know.
a different way. Like when
I
people see
think-
you, like when I see
Yeah.
blue hair, I instantly think liberal.
Yeah, that's not crazy. That or middle school girl. Middle school girls can get away with it, and elementary school girls
Bright blue hair, nah.
they can get
Pink.
putting color in your hair in
I
general.
think pink is a very popular one. Yeah.
Now if it's like streaks, it's
Yeah.
a little more
Yeah,
like,
that's what I'm talking about.
Yes.
Not like
normal.
the full like.
No, I'm saying the full, just straight up
Yeah, okay. Yeah, usually
dip your
I'd
head
say.
in blue paint. Yeah.
I think though the reason I'm against it is because it's like it's like on like the surface, and especially if you're not a Christian, you look at it, you're like, okay, who cares? Like they can just do whatever they want. But as a Christian, you kind of notice the like you were saying earlier, Jacob. Here's a beautiful girl,
Mm-hmm.
and what does Satan do? He like twists and destroys these
Yeah.
things, and she's like letting these things into her heart that are making her.
Yeah,
uglier,
destroying
more
the
disgusting.
natural thing that God gave
Yeah.
you. I feel
And
the same way about makeup, though. Honestly,
A lot of makeup,
mm-hmm.
or just in general.
Well, they're trying to be somebody else instead of accepting who they are and how they look. They're trying to be something different instead of accepting what God gave them. They're basically saying, "God, you didn't make me good enough."
What about the makeup that like accentuates the way they look?
Yeah,
So it's not
so-
like
I
it's not like
think
fully
natural.
altering it, but it's
No,
like
exactly. See, and that's
Okay.
okay. You put a little bit of foundation on to like just
Yeah.
cover up. Like if you have some spots or like
Mhm.
acne or something, put a little bit of foundation on. If you want to spruce it up, put a little bit of lipstick on or whatever. But when you do like the full caked face with extra
and you look like
blush
a doll
and like
or
yeah, bright black lipstick with like eyeshadow and bright blue eyes, and it's just you look fake. You look
Mhm.
like if you look at them with makeup on or without makeup, you could not.
tell
Not
They,
the same
they would look
recognizable.
totally
Yeah.
different. Yeah, you could not recognize them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
what
think
do
you should
Lexi?
use makeup to enhance
Yeah.
your looks, not change them.
I completely agree with you.
I seldom wear makeup.
Mhm.
I'll put it on for like photos, or maybe a special occasion every now and then. I'm more on the extreme side of makeup too.
That's not crazy. Yeah.
But I think that natural looking makeup is fine. I don't think there's anything wrong
Yeah.
with it. I don't love the caked on look either.
You shouldn't be able to tell they're wearing makeup is my thing.
Yeah.
Like lipstick is a little bit different because it's more of it can be fun. It's kind of like wearing a nice suit and tie. Like if you wear it in the right setting,
Okay.
maybe wear a nice dress and then put some nice lipstick on. I get that. Just like a guy doing their hair or a girl doing their hair. It's
Yeah, because that's how
enhancing what's
I
already
kind of look at
there.
it. That's how I look at it in the sense of like, when I see my girlfriend and she's all like dolled up and everything, I'm like, oh, like you put effort into the way that you
Mhm.
looked. Now she doesn't do. It's not like cake and everything like that. What you were saying,
No.
it's
Well, I
much
think
more
there's
natural.
a
But
difference in doing it like for an occasion versus like feeling like you have to do like you cannot be seen without it. Like you're
that's
ashamed
true.
of what you
Hold
look
up, yeah.
without makeup.
Well, and
that's a good point.
some people were raised that way. Like it was a part of brushing your hair, brushing your teeth. Like you put your makeup on before you go outside.
Mhm.
So
Yeah, but that doesn't mean it has to be excessive.
no. I just mean like some people like that's ingrained in them. Like my cousins. My cousins are like that.
Yeah.
Because that's how their mom taught them to
Mhm.
be.
Like they look totally different with makeup and without makeup. It's kind of crazy.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
But I think there's balance with that. Just like with Modesty, I think there's balance with both of them.
Yeah.
And I think what I'm trying to say is if that's really what you want to do, okay, whatever. But you don't have to do that. Like most of the time, like especially when it goes for Christians, most of the time a Christian guy likes how you look naturally, how God created you, and you don't need to put 3 hours of effort in to do makeup to make them happy. Most of the time they're kind of like, oh, like that's fake. Yeah, I'd just rather you being you.
Right.
I don't know. Maybe it's just me, but I don't think so.
No, I agree with you. I think the natural look looks a lot better. And then also, I mean, it's really just not that good for you, makeup.
No.
Like,
yeah, I can't imagine it's
in
comfortable.
In some ways, I'm like, well, you already, find a girl who already looks good without makeup, and then she doesn't have to wear it, and then you don't have to worry about her, putting chemicals all over her face.
Yeah, there's a person for everyone. Like, it doesn't matter how you look. Somebody out there thinks you look pretty. Like, just because
take care of yourself. You should take care of yourself.
Yeah, if you just take care of yourself, there is someone out there that will love you for who you are. Like, it doesn't matter what your high school friends think, or the bully down the street or whatever. Who cares? No matter, you could be the ugliest person in the world, somebody will love you for who you are. God definitely will.
True.
It's not important. Yeah. If people don't love you for who you are, that's on them, not you.
I don't know if I buy into that, like look, absolute looks
no,
you're talking about.
I'm talking about looks. Like, if you take, obviously, if you don't take care of yourself, that's different. But if you take care of your body and you just naturally look, for instance, let's say you're a girl and you naturally look more masculine. Some guys would think that's unattractive and would call that ugly. But if that's who you are, that's who you are. You don't need to go change your gender to be a guy or whatever. Just accept that you look a little slightly more masculine, and people will love you for who you are, and there will somebody will come along that will.
I think I agree with what you're saying in the sense of like, I watched this YouTuber and he had like one of his ears stuck out a little bit more, and he talked about how he went to go get surgery done so his ear, like both of his ears, were more symmetrical, and he talked about how he actually ended up regretting that because it was like a special part of him that he actually liked. And I'm like, yeah, that totally makes sense. But he also talks about how he used to be like skinny fat, and how he went to the gym and got like really jacked. And I'm like, yeah, that's a good way to take care of yourself and change the way you look. But then, getting surgery done on a way that God made you, I think, to change the way God made you, that's when I kind of draw the line.
Yeah. For sure.
Yeah.
I think we've covered Modesty pretty good. Is there any last thoughts or ideas that either of you have?
No, not outside of just the fact that it's just something I think men and women need to think about. And obviously, guys, it's different. It's not really. I don't really think guys have a problem with it as much as women, but guys, like, you should encourage women to. You should find a way to encourage women to not dress unmodestly, without just coming across as like, oh, I want you to, I'm a Puritan or something like that.
A point I didn't make is how you dress will attract certain people. So, like, if you dress more scandal, you're going to attract people that are more scandal themselves. They want that. And so, especially for Christian girls out there, the guy that you want to marry someday, do you want him to like the girls that wear scandal stuff? Like, do you want to attract a guy that likes modesty, or a guy that likes to look at women as objects instead of people and a future spouse?
Right.
Yeah, that's so true. Because no at the end of the day, no like truly God-fearing man that I've ever met likes women who dress scandalously. It just doesn't exist. And I've never met a woman who does dress very scandalously who also respects God.
Yeah. So just because your school or society wears it, do you really want to meet do you want to marry somebody that wants that?
Right.
Or do you even want to be like perceived as someone who's like,
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Because if you do want that kind, Christian-hearted guy, they're not going to want something like that. If they see a girl dressed like that, it's going to turn them away instantly.
Yeah.
And so you're not going to find them if you're dressing like that. I think that's just something to keep in mind.
Yeah.
Like I said, I mean, I think it's balance. It's all about balance.
It is.
I mean, if you put on an outfit and you look in the mirror, if you can ask yourself, like, would God approve of this outfit for today, for what I'm going to do today? Whether it's going swimming or whether it's going to church or going to work out, is this an acceptable outfit?
Most of the time, if you have to ask, the answer is no, unless you're Lexi, because she's extreme.
Yeah, well,
I mean, I think it's just a check, though. Like you could just put on your outfit.
I think another good way is like, would my dad approve of this if you come from like a healthy household?
Yeah.
I think that's a good way. Because there's things I see girls wearing, and it's like,
if you make your dad uncomfortable.
If I saw my daughter wearing that, oh boy.
Yeah.
You're done.
I think that's true. I think a lot of dads see what their daughters wear, and their daughters just don't care enough to dress more modest just to make their dad happy. Because there's a lot of girls out there that wear these things, and it makes their dads sad, but their dads don't step up and say anything.
Yeah, that's so true. That could be a whole nother topic. Is like,
this is my kid. I physically
that kind
wouldn't let them wear. I would burn the clothes.
Yeah. Or so real.
I'm just wouldn't give you a choice. If you move out and then want to wear those clothes, whatever, that's your choice. But I would have taught them by that time that that's not acceptable. You want to respect yourself. So
real.
Sweet.
All right. Well, I think that, like you said, that kind of wraps everything up.
Yeah.
I hope you guys enjoyed this episode 10 with our special guest, Lexi, Jacob's wife.
Definitely. And hopefully the audio is a bit cleaner from last one. I know Jackson's audio was a bit spiky in a few spots, but
well,
it was more post-editing. I don't think it was actually Jackson. So, all right, see y'all.
Okay, we'll see you guys in the next one. Drop a like if you're on YouTube, and send us an email with your thoughts and the email that Jacob so graciously made for you to send us emails to.
Wow, that's what emails for? To send emails? Crazy.
Yeah, I think so. That and sign up for stuff.
Yeah, make sure you can, if you're on podcasting apps, you can, there's a number down there that will send it to our podcast app so we can read your comments. You can do that, or you can send us an email, like Jackson said, at thezoomerperspectiveshow@gmail.com. Or if you're on YouTube, you can leave a comment. So definitely, we really want you guys' feedback. So
yes,
thank you for making it to the end. We'll holler at y'all next time.
Bye-bye.
Hello. Are you gonna say bye or not?
Oh, bye.